going on, guys? Welcome to the View from Appalachia with MD Creekmore. This video is going to be about something that is kind of weird, at least I thought so. I was watching another video this morning on Rumble, and I got into that, and I was like, this is very interesting. So I started taking notes, and I decided to make a video about what I saw in the other video and some more research I did online. I actually have been online this morning for about an hour and a half doing research about a series of books that came out in the late 1800s, and I think the last one came out in 1900 by, you see the guy's name, make sure I get this right, Ingersoll Lockwood. And 1890s books by Ingersoll Lockwood, including the last book in the series, The Last President. And when I was watching this, I was like, this can't be real. There isn't any way that those books were written in the late 1800s predicting the future. It was actually science fiction books, and it was a little boy named Barron Trump, and he lived at Fifth Avenue in New York City, where Trump Tower's at now. And I'm thinking that is very strange. And he had adventures, time-traveling adventures, and his mentor, I haven't read the books, like I said, I'm just going off of memory here, what I saw in the video I watched this morning and in my research I did online this morning about these books. But Barron Trump lived at Fifth Avenue in New York City, and he was able to time travel, going back in time, going to Russia, going to different places all around the world in those books. And he had I think it was called a mentor. Let's see. He's guided by Don, the master of all masters, and they have their time traveling adventures. Barron Trump, Fifth Avenue, New York City, time traveling, all knowing master of masters, the Don. But guys, what's really interesting is the last book in the series, written in 1900, and it's titled The Last President. And the last president, I mean, really? The Don, Barron Trump, Fifth Avenue, New York City. And he actually, in the book, when he is elected president, he hires a guy named Mr. Pence. I mean, you can't make this shit up, guys. What is going on here anyway? Do these books actually predict the future? Or did Donald Trump read these books and he was a child and named his son Barron? Actually, from what I saw in my research, Donald Trump used to actually refer to himself as Barron Trump. I'm not sure about that, that's what I read. So that is something to consider also. The wind is blowing here and blowing my notes around. But anyways, when he is elected president, in the book, the people are thanking God for his election because he's going to clean out the government of all the corruption. So the people are praising God that he was elected president, the last president of the United States, and lived at Fifth Avenue in New York City. The son named Barron Trump, actually. So that does sound kind of familiar, doesn't it, guys? And this wind is blowing my paper around here, see. And once he's elected president, the last president, says the anarchists and the socialists revolt and surround Trump Castle in New York City, chanting, "Death to the rich man, death to the rich man." And the last president passes laws to control the people. Very interesting. And I'm like, this can't be real. When I was watching the videos, it has to be made up, contrived bunch of bull crap. The books are probably written now, within the last few years, and they're trying to act like maybe it's written in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Can't talk this morning. But I looked into it, and that's not the case. The books are actually written in the late 1800s, and the last one was written in 1900. The last president, Barron Trump, time travels with, he's guided by Don, the master of all masters, as they go on their time traveling adventures. And the last book, the last president, he's elected president. The people cheer, the people thank God, because he's going to clean out all the corruption in the government. And the socialists and the anarchists revolt. They surround Trump Castle in New York City, Fifth Avenue, chanting death to the rich man. And he passes laws to control the people. What's the likelihood of all these things? The names, Mr. Pence, Don, Master of Masters, Barron Trump, the exact address, time travel. I mean, see, the wind's blowing my paper. You can see here, I can't get the fold out. What's the likelihood of that? It's either someone was very good at guessing with names and everything, Barron Trump, the right address, Mr. Pence, the last president, how the people would react. Someone is definitely good at guessing. They can see the future. They were time traveling, or maybe Donald Trump himself liked this series of books because it had his name, Trump, as the main character, Barron Trump, time traveler. Maybe Donald Trump read these books as a child and actually enjoyed these books and based his life on these books, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but it's definitely something that's very strange. Also, when I was doing my research, I found out that Donald Trump's uncle, John Trump, I think that it was. Let me see here. Paper. God almighty knows. This is getting old. This paper moving around here. You cannot actually get where I can see it. It's floating up with the wind. Now, calm down. Anyway, it says my notes. When Nikola Tesla died in 1943, Donald Trump's uncle, John Trump, a professor at MIT at the time, was called to look into all of his mountains of research, and then finally concluded that nothing of significance was found. So, John Trump, Donald Trump's uncle, was a professor at MIT, so he had to be really, really intelligent, right? And when Nikola Tesla died in 1943, the government had Donald Trump's uncle, John Trump, to go to Nikola Tesla's apartment in New York City, actually, to go through like 80 different suitcases of research. And he concluded that nothing of importance was found. So, what did he actually find? I don't think that with Nikola Tesla's reputation and his inventions and 80 suitcases of research, drawings, diagrams by Nikola Tesla all of his life, he died in his 80s of a blood clot, actually. I would seriously doubt that nothing was found that was of significance out of all that research. You know good and well that they had to find some things that were very, very interesting. And Nikola Tesla had, if you look into it, a lot of research on electricity, everything. I mean, weapons, laser weapons. So I think that maybe a lot of our advanced weapons now that we're seeing might be a direct result of Nikola Tesla's research. And that was Donald Trump's uncle, John Trump, professor at MIT, working for the government to go through all these records and things, all this research, like his 80 plus suitcases full of research papers, and concluded nothing of significance was found. Yeah, right. What did he actually find? Did he actually turn what all he found into the government? Possibly. I mean, I don't know. Or Maybe he found some things that was very interesting, like how to time travel. I mean, who knows? It sounds crazy, I know, it sounds conspiratorial, but if you look into those books, I'm going to buy those books myself and read through those books. And I actually thought, when I first heard about this, that it had to be bullshit. It couldn't be real. Getting the names right, you know, Byron Trump, Don, the master of all masters, time travel, Mr. Pence, the last president, the people thanking God because he was going to clean out all the corruption in D.C. and the anarchists, the socialists, converge on his house, his home, Trump Castle, Fifth Avenue, New York City, where Trump Tower is now. And this was written 100 years ago. Look at this pond. It's a good looking pond, good to see it, throw rocks or whatever. But when I fished here before, didn't catch anything. I tried a couple of different times fishing at this pond and didn't catch anything. They put in some good looking banshees here, looks like. But that is definitely something that I was like, what is the world going on here? And I want to know, you know, what you think. What do you think happened here? Do you think that Donald Trump had these books when he was a child and he liked to read because it was Byron Trump, the main character in the fiction novels, the science fiction novels? And so he based his life, you know, on what was in those books. Maybe like deciding to run for president, like Trump Tower at the address, naming his son Byron Trump. More than likely, that's probably the case, instead of the books predicting the future. But I don't know. And I would love, that's one thing I like to ask Donald Trump myself, is he aware of those books? Did he read those books as a child? And if he didn't read those books as a child and base a lot of his decisions on what he read to make the books actually come true, then someone's either predicting the future or someone's been time traveling or something, because there's no way that you're going to be able to be in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and write these books with all these details, with all these names, like Mr. Pence. I mean, if Trump had read that when he was a child about Mr. Pence and the government, maybe that was one of the reasons he decided to have Pence as his vice president in his first term. Maybe that's the reason he wanted to run on, you know, cleaning out the corruption in Washington, D.C., because he's read the books when he was a child. More than likely, that's the case, I think. And if that's not the case, if he didn't read those books, you know, as a child, and base a lot of his decisions on those fiction novels in life, then there's definitely something going on. Time travel or something. But I did think that it was very interesting that Donald Trump's uncle, John Trump, was a professor at MIT and got to go through all of Nikola Tesla's research. I actually was one of the first people to go through that research. He was called in because he was an MIT professor, obviously very intelligent, and he would be the one that could understand a lot of the information in Nikola Tesla's research notes and things. So you can imagine being one of the first guys to go through Nikola Tesla's research, what you could find out. You're going into the brain of Nikola Tesla. All of his many years of research, like I said, he died in his late 80s of a blood clot. And John Trump, Donald Trump's uncle, got to go through that research. I mean, that would have been awesome, actually, to get to go through all that. I probably couldn't have understood a lot of it because I'm not a scientist, I'm not a genius, I'm just a guy here in Appalachia that looks at things and tries to figure things out and gets this camera here and talks to you all about it and trying to figure it out. But crazy, it really is crazy. But I would say, my opinion, there's been lots of things written about these books and about the last president, and especially the last president book, the last book in the series. And I don't really think that, it's just my opinion, I don't know, that the author, Ingersoll, I've got his name off my head, see my brain, my paper back out. I never could remember names worth of crap, guys. For some reason, names always gets to me. Ingersoll Lockwood. My brain, I tell you what, this morning, one of these days I'll get a brain. Oh, I don't think he was seeing into the future. I think he wrote the books out of his imagination, and I think that more than likely Donald Trump has read these books when he was a kid. Some of his favorite books, because, you know, Trump was in the name of the book, and Trump Tower, and it was where he was at and everything growing up, I think. And I would say he read those books, he enjoyed those books, and, you know, when his son was born, he decided to name him Byron after the little boy in the book. And he may be in the reason he bought, you know, Trump Tower at the same address. So I would say that's more than likely the case, and people's making a huge deal out of this because it seems to predict the future. But if you come at it logically, most likely it's not predicting the future. It was something Donald Trump read when he was a kid and enjoyed the books, and he kind of based some of the things in his life on it. Just like when he chose his vice president, you know, Pence. It could have been influenced by him reading the book, and the book having Mr. Pence as one of the characters hired to work in the government by the last president. So more than likely that's the case. Don't get excited, because I think that's probably it. However, I think even more interesting to me is the fact that John Trump, Donald Trump's uncle, actually got to go in and go through Nikola Tesla's research. What did he find? Did he turn it all in to the government? Probably. There was probably people with him watching over his shoulder to make sure that he did, government officials. However, you know, going through 80 suitcases, it would have been fairly easily to say something wasn't of significance, and it actually was. To memorize that, if you're really smart, to, you know, make that disappear to your own collection, maybe. I'm not saying he did, I'm just saying that it's a good possibility. Anyway, you know what you think in the comments below. What do you think about this? Do you think my theory of most likely it's not predicting the future, it wasn't done through time travel, where someone time traveled and wrote the books and come back and forth like some people theorized? I think it's probably that Donald Trump read the books when he was a kid and enjoyed it and based some of his life on it. And now looking back at those books and what's happening now with Donald Trump, it makes it look like the future is being predicted when it actually wasn't. Anyway, know what you think in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, thank you for being here to View from Appalachia. I really appreciate it. And give the video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.